Hey guys, welcome back. So I found a great site for you. It is on the Milwaukee Public Museum. This will help us to further our knowledge about the ancient Romans and their civilization, their culture, their heritage. So I'm just going to kind of quickly read through this. I will post the link on Schoology if you feel so inclined to read it as well. So I'm just going to read it and you guys can just listen. From its founding in 625 BC to its fall in AD 476, the Roman Empire conquered and integrated dozens of cultures. The influence of these cultures can be seen in objects such as oil lamps made and used throughout the empire. Okay, so here are our key periods. The Roman Republic, 510 BC to 40 BC. Imperial Rome, 20 AD to 360 AD. Eastern Roman Empire, 405 AD to 1453 AD. Western Roman Empire, 405 AD to 480 AD. Well, this is probably the fall. This is without a doubt the fall. The Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire, at one point right after Imperial Rome, the ending around 360, they decided, hey, we're a little bit different in the West, and hey, we're a little bit different in the East. So we're basically going to create our own two empires, and we'll have similar characteristics, but we will have different things. And basically, that's what led to the fall of the Roman Empire. They just couldn't simply fight off its invaders and enemies without being together. So once they separated, the Roman Empire became pretty weak and it basically fell apart and it became different countries throughout Europe. Okay. So founding 625 BC. As we read about this last week, Romulus and Remus, right? So they were two little boys stranded on the side of the River Tiber, and a mother wolf comes along, and this wolf raises Romulus and Remus, and later, Romulus comes to kill Remus, and Romulus is the first emperor. Well, you can believe what you want, and you should have done that for Wednesday's class assignment. If you did not, you should do it. Go look back on Wednesdays. Comment what you think. You think the story is true? Think it's untrue? Because really, no one really knows the true founding of Rome. Okay. So Rome was founded around 625 BC in the areas of ancient Italy known as Etruria and Latium. It is thought that the city-state of Rome was initially formed by Latium villagers joining together with settlers from surrounding hills in response to Etruscan invasion. It is unclear whether they came together in defense or as a result of being brought under Etruscan. Archaeological evidence indicates that a great deal of change and unification took place around 600 BC, which likely led to the establishment of Rome as a true city. Period of Kings, 625 to 510 BC. The first period in Roman history is known as the Period of Kings, and it lasted from Rome's founding until 510 BC. During this brief time, Rome, led by no fewer than 6 kings, advanced both militaristically and economically with increases in physical boundaries, military might, and production and trade of goods including oil lamps. Politically, this period saw the early formation of the Roman constitution. The end of the period of kings came with the decline of Etruscan power, thus ushering in Rome's Republican period. Republican Rome, 510 to 31 BC. Rome entered its Republican period in 510 BC. No longer ruled by kings, the Romans established a new form of government whereby the upper class ruled, namely the senators, equestrians, or knights. However, a dictator could be nominated in times of crisis. In 451 BC, the Romans established the 12 Tables, a standardized code of laws meant for public, private, and political matters. Rome continued to expand throughout the Republican period and gained control over the entire Italian peninsula by 338 BC. It was the Punic Wars from 264 to 146 BC, along with some conflicts with Greece, that allowed Rome to take control of Carthage and Corinth and thus become the dominant maritime or naval with boats power in the Mediterranean. Remember, Carthage and Corinth are one of the two many Greek city-states that we read about beforehand. The most popular are, what would you say, Persia, Sparta, and Athens. Soon after, Rome's political atmosphere pushed the Republic into a period of chaos and civil war. This led to the election of a dictator, L. Cornelius Sulla, who served from 820 to 80 BC. Following Sulla's resignation in 79 BC, the Republic returned to a state of unrest or anarchy. While Rome continued to be governed as a republic for another 50 years, the shift to imperialism began to materialize in 60 BC, when Julius Caesar rose to power. 51 BC, Julius Caesar had conquered Celtic Gaul, and for the first time, Rome's borders had spread beyond the Mediterranean region. Although the Senate was still Rome's governing body, its power was weakening. Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC by his heir Gaius Julius Caesar, Octavian, who ruled alongside Mark Antony. In 31 BC, Rome overtook Egypt, which resulted in the death of Mark Antony and left Octavian as the unchallenged ruler of Rome. Octavian assumed the title of Augustus and thus became the first emperor of Rome. Imperial Rome, and the last part. Rome's imperial period was its last, beginning with the rise of Rome's first emperor in 31 BC and lasting until the fall of Rome in AD 476. During this period, Rome saw several decades of peace, prosperity, and expansion. By AD 117, the Roman Empire had reached its maximum extent, spanning 3 continents including Asia Minor, northern Africa, and most of Europe. In AD 286, the Roman Empire was split into the Eastern and Western empires, each ruled by its own emperor. The Western Empire suffered several Gothic invasions. In AD 455, was sacked by the Vandals. Rome continued to decline after that until AD 476, when the Western Roman Empire came to an end. The Eastern Roman Empire, more commonly known as the Byzantine Empire, survived until the 15th century AD. It fell when the Turks took control of its capital city, Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul in Turkey, in AD 453. Okay. So guys, I will post a couple questions for you to finish after this video, but I just wanted to cover this really quick. I want you guys to make sure when I'm reading, and we're reading anything from the textbook in this period of history, it's hard to understand, and I want to cover the timeline again. So when we're talking about, let's just say 476 BC, when you see the BC, that's what it used to mean, okay? So some of the textbooks still say BC in it, and that means before Christ. And anything that is newer or newly published will say BCE, or before Common Era, because the actual timeline for history was actually formed on the birth of Jesus Christ. Now, people and historians currently say, well, that's not right to judge time on the birth of one figure. Okay. So instead of using time and the birth of one figure, we're going to use different terminology. We don't need to say BC. We don't need to add Christ into numerical dates. Okay. So if we're going to say 476, we don't need to say BC. We say BCE, or before Common Era. And then if we're talking about right now, we are in 2020 AD, or AD 2020 CE, or if you were to say 500 AD, okay? So like when you say, well, the Romans were in 476 BC a republic. Well, you could say the Romans were 476 BCE a republic. Yes, and both would be right. So you can see at the top it says Christian term, and this is a secular term. That means everyone can use it. So usually when we see BC, that's just for the Christian religion, and this is what we used for a really long time, but now things have changed. Okay? All right, guys, make sure you check on Schoology. Make sure you're completing all the steps, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Have a great day.